Hello, yogis, and welcome. Today's sequence is a more restorative stretch and strengthen sequence for opening up through the hips and shoulders. This sequence is great if you're a runner or a hiker looking for post-workout stretching, or maybe it is a recovery day for you and you're wanting to really stretch out the hips and the hamstrings, IT band, all of those areas that get worked out a lot in runners and hikers. This sequence may also be appropriate for recovery if you're dealing with a minor running injury. But as always, remember that sensation is okay when we're in a pose, but pain is not. If at any point you feel any sort of discomfort or pain in any of these poses, just slowly back out. Use this practice to really check in with how your body is feeling. This entire sequence will be floor-based. There's actually no standing poses in this sequence at all. So with that in mind, we're going to get started flat all the way down on our backs on the mat. And when you arrive, just pull your knees in toward your chest and give yourself a squeeze, maybe rocking back and forth, side to side, gently massaging out through the lower spine. From here, go ahead and begin to gently move your knees out a bit wider toward your armpits, holding on to each knee. You can continue rocking side to side. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose and exhale out through the mouth. Bring your knees back to center, holding on to your right knee. Extend your left leg out long. From here, we'll move into a spinal twist, guiding that right knee all the way over toward the left, as far as what feels comfortable for you today. Just starting out in our class, a nice gentle twist. Maybe opening up through the right arm for a bit of a deeper stretch. Making sure both shoulder blades are still in contact with the mat. Maybe look over toward your right hand and breathe. Great. From here, we're actually going to come to lie on our left sides in the fetal position. Knees bent and your right knee comes to stack on top of your left. From here, we'll move into a round of 10 clamshell exercises, good for strengthening the glutes. So from here, go ahead and lift your right knee away from your left knee, opening up. And release. Go through 10 of these exercises on this side. When you've completed your clamshells on this side, bring your knees to stack on top of one another once again. And from here, we'll go into a shoulder opener. Still lying on your left side, bring both arms out straight in front of your face, stacking your palms on top one another. And on your inhale, open up your right arm all the way up and over to touch on the floor behind you. And exhale, bring your palms back to touch together. Inhale again, open up through your right arm, twisting open. And exhale, palms together. Once more, opening up. And exhale, release. Come back to lie flat on your backs with your knees bent and the soles of the feet on the mat, setting up for bridge pose. Knees straight up toward the sky. Your palms are down along your sides. You can tickle the backs of your heels to ensure proper spacing. And once you have this, begin to push into your feet and lift your hips up toward the sky, keeping the knees energetically drawing in toward one another, pushing into your forearms to see if you can lift your hips just an inch higher. And exhale, release. Bring both knees in and give yourself a squeeze. Holding on to the left knee this time, extend your right leg out long on the mat. Before guiding that left knee all the way over toward the right side of the mat for a supine twist on the other side. You can hold onto your knee with your right hand as you open up with your left, keeping both shoulder blades in contact with the mat. Breathe here. Let's release into the fetal position on the right side this time, setting up for our clamshell exercises on the right. Stack your knees on top of one another. And when you're ready, begin to lift your left knee away from your right knee, strengthening through the glute. And exhale, release it back down. Continue through to 10 clamshell exercises on this side, going at a speed that works for you. When you are completed, bring your knees to stack on top of one another again and extend your arms out straight with your palms connected for our chest opener on this side. And on your next inhale, reach your left hand up and over to touch on the floor behind you. And exhale, bring your palms back together. Again, inhale, open up through the arm, twisting. And exhale, release. Once more, opening up through the arm. And exhale, release. Come to lie flat on your backs once more with your knees up and the soles of your feet on the mat for one more round of bridge pose. Go ahead and begin to push into your feet to rise up into bridge pose, hips lifting, pushing into the forearms to lift a bit higher, making sure your knees are drawing in toward one another. And exhale, release down vertebrae by vertebrae, nice and slow. From here, we're going to gently make our way up to hands and knees, tabletop pose. Take your time arriving here. And when you find your tabletop pose, make sure your shoulders are stacked over your wrists, hips are stacked over your knees, and move through a couple rounds of cat-cow. On your inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. And exhale, tuck chin to chest, round dome through the back. Inhale, chest lifts. And exhale, round in. Come back to a neutral tabletop pose, nice flat back. From here, extend your right leg out behind you, ball of the right foot on the mat. You can go ahead and stretch a bit through your calves by rocking front and back. And then from here, begin to draw your right foot as far over to the left, crossing over your left foot as far over to the left as you can. And once you have it positioned there, begin to look back and look back toward your right foot. Nice side body stretch here. Inhale your right leg back to center, ball of the foot on the mat behind you, and begin to move through a couple leg lifts. On your inhale, lift the right foot up to a hover behind you, and exhale, place the ball of the foot on the mat. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift. Keep your right foot lifted and begin to bring your knee in toward your chest, rounding through the back, chin to chest. And exhale, release the leg back, still at a hover above the mat. Let's do that 2 more times, bringing the knee in, round through the back, chin to chest. And exhale, release the leg back. Once more, inhale, chin to chest, and exhale, release the leg back. Inhale, chin to chest, and now step your right foot up in between your hands, setting up for low lunge. We're going to keep our fingers on the mat though. Left knee on the mat. Maybe you pick up your left knee to move it back just a bit for a bit of a deeper hip stretch. Keeping your fingers low and on the mat, just rock back and forth side to side, just feeling into the hip. Begin to walk your fingers back in line with your right knee, straightening through your right leg for half splits. Inhale, straighten through the spine, and exhale, fold over your extended leg. Begin to walk your hands forward to frame your front foot yet again. Planting through the left hand, reach your right hand up to the sky for an easy twist. Stay here, or if you'd like to add an additional deep quad stretch to this pose, begin to look back for your left foot, trying to grab your left foot with your right hand. If you capture your foot, begin to pull it gently in toward you and open your shoulders up toward the right. Gently release your foot and let's meet back in a neutral tabletop pose. From here, we'll move to the other side, this time extending your left leg back behind you. Ball of the foot in contact with the mat. You can move through some of those calf stretches by rocking forward and back very gently. Now take your left foot and begin to move it as far over to the right as you can, and then begin to look back toward your left foot, moving into the side stretch on this side. Return your left foot to center and let's move through our heel lifts on this side. Ball of the foot on the mat. On your inhale, lift your left foot up to hover, and exhale, release. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift. This time, bringing your knee into your chest. We'll move through this round 3 times. So knee to chest, round in, dome through the back. And exhale, straighten the leg back out to hover. Inhale, bring the knee in, chin to chest. Exhale, straighten out long. Inhale, knee in, chin to chest. And exhale, straighten out long. Inhale, knee in, this time stepping your left foot all the way up in between your hands. Setting up for low lunge on this side, making sure your left knee is stacked over your left ankle. Maybe pick up and moving your right knee back just a few inches to really start to get a good stretch through the hips on this side. Once you find that good stretch, just keep your fingertips on the mat, maybe rocking back and forth gently. Begin to walk your hands back in line with your left knee, straightening out through the left leg, energetic through the toes as we move into our half splits on this side. Inhale, nice flat back, and exhale, release over your extended leg. Feel into the hamstrings here. Begin to walk your hands back out to frame your front foot. Plant through the right hand, lifting the left hand up to the sky for an easy twist. If you took the quad stretch on the other side, I invite you to do so here. Bending through your back knee, trying to capture your right foot with your left hand, gently pulling the right foot in towards you as you look over your left shoulder. Great, and release back to a neutral tabletop pose. Walk your hands out just a few inches in front of you, tuck through the toes, and let's send the hips up and back into our first downward facing dog. Maybe rock back and forth, side to side, stretching through one leg and then the other in this first down dog, just finding what feels good here. Pushing energetically into your index finger and thumb, straightening through the arms and the back, even if that means putting a large bend into your knees. And your heels do not need to come anywhere down near the mat. From your down dog, let's roll forward into plank pose. From here, let's lower our right knee down to the mat. Coming into modified side plank, spin your left foot parallel to the short edge of the mat while extending your left arm up. Shoulders in line with one another, maybe look up. Bring your left hand back down to the mat. Let's meet in tabletop pose. Tuck through the toes, and now just walk your hands back so you're gently seated on your heels. With your toes tucked still, this is a big, deep foot stretch. Really great for bringing new oxygenated blood into our toes and joints of our feet, but it can be pretty intense, so if it's too much for you today, you can also just be rested on your heels with your toes untucked. Stay here for just one more breath. From here, walk your hands back out into tabletop pose. It might feel great to untuck the toes and just tap them gently on the mat to get that fresh blood flow back in. And from here, we'll meet up and back into downward facing dog. Hips lift. Roll forward into plank. This time bringing your left knee down. We'll move into modified side plank on this side, spinning the right foot parallel to the short edge of the mat behind you and lifting your right arm up to the sky. Great, release both hands back down to the mat. Meet back in tabletop pose, and from here we will take a wide-legged child's pose. Knees out as wide as what feels comfortable for you on your mat, toes back to touch. Walking the hands out in front of you, bringing the forehead down to the mat. If you'd like to take an additional tricep stretch in this child's pose, you can bring your palms together and up for your thumbs to meet at the nape of your neck. Take a long, deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. If you had the tricep stretch, go ahead and release the palms back down and walk your hands in, coming back to tabletop pose. From here, we're going to move into cow face pose, which is an amazing stretch for the hips. We'll start by bringing our right knee just a bit in front of our left, tucking our left knee back behind the right. Feet out wide to either side, and begin to slowly set your hips back so you're sitting between your feet. If this is enough of a stretch for your hips already, I invite you to stay right here. Also, if your knees don't fully stack on top one another and there's a big space, you can use a pillow or a block between your knees to help close that gap. If you would like to go deeper into this pose, you can begin to walk your hands out in front of you, folding over your knees and breathing into your hips. Slowly begin to walk your hands back in, come back up, and we'll meet back in tabletop pose, gently uncrossing the knees. And let's move to the other side. This time your left knee will be in front. Tuck your right knee behind your left and begin to slowly sit your hips back between your feet for cow face pose on the other side. Again, if you have a big gap between your knees, you can always put your pillow or block there. Stay upright or begin to walk your hands out forward for a bit of a deeper stretch through the hips. Slowly begin to walk your hands back in, coming back up to tabletop pose and releasing your legs. Tucking through the toes, we're going to meet in downward facing dog. Once there, it might feel really nice to walk out your down dog again, bending through one leg and then the other. On your next inhale, lift your right leg to the sky, and exhale, try to tap your right knee to your right elbow. Inhale the leg back up, three-legged dog, and exhale, tap your right knee to your left elbow. Inhale back, three-legged dog, and exhale, bring your knee to center, chin to chest, and exhale, bring your right knee behind your right wrist, left foot behind your left wrist, setting up for pigeon pose on this side. Left leg out long behind you. Your right leg can be as parallel or not to the front edge of the mat as what works for you today. You can stay up in your king pigeon pose, or come down to your forearms, or all the way down to rest your head on your hands. Breathe into your hips. We're going to slowly begin to release out of this pigeon pose, coming back to the palms of our hands, releasing back into downward facing dog and pedaling out through the legs. Before we move over to the other side, this time inhaling, the left leg lifts. And exhale, try to tap your left knee to your left tricep. Inhale, three-legged dog. And exhale, tap your knee to your right tricep. Inhale, three-legged dog. And exhale, bring your knee to center, pull it in. And release your left knee behind your left wrist, Left foot behind your right wrist, setting up for pigeon pose on this side. Hips lower, right leg extended long behind you. You can take a quick peek back at your right foot to make sure it's not sickling. Inhale, stretch up through the chest, and exhale, fold forward as much as what works for your body today. Breathing into the hips, relaxing the jaw. Slowly begin to come back out of your pigeon pose, pushing into the hands, meeting back into down dog, and maybe pedaling out the feet once more. Rocking forward into plank pose, keeping the elbows hugged in. Let's lower all the way down to our belly. When you arrive, we are going to take a nice shoulder opener from here. Extend your right hand out to the side at about a 90-degree angle. You can cactus through the hand, bending at the elbow. And from here, we can use our left hand to gently begin to roll over onto our right side. You can be on your right side, on your right hip with your knees stacked, pushing into your left fingertips to open up through the right shoulder a bit more. If you would like to go even deeper, you can add a bind by reaching your left hand back for your mid-back. Go ahead and come back to center, and let's move through the shoulder stretch on the other side. Nice and slow. Let's extend our left hand out at a 90-degree angle from our shoulder. You can bend through the arm, cactus at the elbow, and begin to slowly move over onto your left side, maybe stacking your hips and your knees, pushing into your right hand. Just go as deep as what feels good in your shoulders today. Release slowly back to center. And from here and your time, we're going to meet flat on our back. So you can go ahead and just flip over onto your back. We'll set up for just a couple more hip stretches and an IT band stretch from here. First is floor pigeon. So you'll want to bring the soles of your feet to the mat and bend through the knees, bringing your right ankle to rest on top of your left knee. And maybe you stay here, or you can begin to draw your left knee in towards you, clasping your hands behind your thigh or in front of your left calf. Keeping active through the right foot to protect your right knee. If you had hold of your left leg, release it here, keeping the cross of the foot on top of the leg. We're going to move into an IT band stretch from here. So keeping the cross of your legs as they are, just simply drop your legs over toward the left until your right foot meets the mat or the floor to the side of you. You can hold on to your foot with your hand and maybe use your right hand to gently guide your knee a bit further away from you. Pushing into the knee, finding that stretch along the outer edge of your hip and your leg. And slowly come back to center. Maybe just windshield wipering through the legs for a moment, dropping the knees side to side to release through the back. And let's move to floor pigeon on the other side, this time crossing your left ankle on top of your right knee. Stay here or begin to draw your right knee in toward your chest, maybe holding on to the back of your thigh or the front of your calf. Keeping active through your left foot to protect your left knee. If you had hold of your leg, release it here. Keep the cross of your feet just as they are and begin to move your left foot all the way over toward the right until the foot comes in contact with the floor. You can stay here or begin to gently push your left knee a bit further away from you until you feel a nice stretch through the outer edge of your leg and into your hip. Slowly come back to center, hug both knees in, and rock back and forth side to side for just a moment. And exhale, release into your final resting pose of Shavasana. You can take standard Shavasana with the legs out long, arms out wide, palms face up. Or if you'd like a modification for today's class, you can bring the soles of your feet together, knees fall out wide for Supta Baddha Konasana or butterfly legs for your Shavasana today. Once you have the leg variation that works for you, Once you have the leg variation that works for you, you can begin to close down the eyes or just have a soft gaze. Take a long, deep inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Again, inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Nothing to do and nothing to manage. Give yourself the gift of these next few moments in stillness. Shavasana is where I'll leave you today, yogis. As always, stay here for as long as your day allows. Check in with your body and how you feel now versus how you felt at the beginning of class. Take a moment in gratitude to yourself for taking this time on your mat today. Be well. Namaste.